everyone, and welcome to part 3 of our Despooking mini webinar series. I am Michaela, joined by Angela and Marissa. Thank you all for joining us today. But today we're going to be mixing it up a little and adding a little bit of spook back into our videos. You hear us say it all the time, cyber threats are very scary and they're increasing at an all-time high. And it doesn't help the situation that there's so many different types of threats and different approaches that cyber criminals can take to get into your system. So in honor of it being spooky season, we're going to be sharing a few terrifying ghost stories, or in our technical language, a few scary and damaging cybersecurity incident stories. And then, of course, we'll wrap up our ghost stories with a quick recap on how you can avoid incidents like these happening to your organization. So, if everyone is ready, get settled, and Angela, give us story number 1.
All right, so did you guys hear about what happened to that one construction company? It was not too long ago and not too far away from here. So the office manager of this construction company received an email from an outsourced vendor for a mass materials purchase, or so he thought. The vendor said that in order to fulfill the delivery, they had to pay a deposit. This was in line with industry standards, so he wired the amount over. A few days later, the money has long since been withdrawn from the company account and the materials still had not arrived. So the accounting team touched base with the office manager. After confirming with their point of contact in their primary materials company, they had determined that unfortunately they were scammed via email in a phishing attack, and they were short of thousands of dollars. And here's the scariest part, there was no way to get that money back. So, knowing this, how do we prevent this from happening to other companies? Security awareness training. It's good to make sure that your team is equipped with the right knowledge to know what to look for and what to do should they see something suspicious, out of the ordinary, or something that would just tick a red flag or two. And that is key in making sure that things like this don't happen. We have a lot of resources on our company blog, especially when it comes to phishing emails, so that way you can share this with your team to help them step up their security game and just be cognizant of the ways that these types of invasions can occur. When you have an entire organization working together, you can build up a really strong security posture.
That is true, for sure. Yay! Even though not a happy ending, we do have happier ways of going about it.
It's a good moral story, a learning lesson.
A learning lesson, that's right. That's what we'll say. All right, well, I have story number 2, if you guys are ready. So, there once was a law firm that had an employee who liked to surf the internet. That employee just so happened to one day visit a website that was infected. They had no idea that it was infected, so that then triggered the immediate download of malware onto their device. And at that point, they didn't even know that they had downloaded something malicious onto their computer or that they were a carrier of ransomware at that point. They didn't even have to do anything to become infected. They simply visited the site and immediately happened to them. They were the victim of what's called a drive-by download. The next day, when they got into the office and signed into their network, a ransomware attack immediately spread across the entire organization. Devices and files were encrypted and locked down, and business operations shut down immediately. After realizing what had happened, the cyber criminals then requested $200,000 in a ransomware payment to get back the encrypted files. But the law firm also knew that just because they paid the ransomware didn't mean that they were going to get back their files. They couldn't trust these villains. So they decided that they were going to rely on their backups to get their files back. But unfortunately, their backups were not being monitored nor being tested, so they could not easily restore any of their files in their critical systems, and instead they were forced to rebuild their entire environment, which led to a whole week of unexpected disruption and the added IT support expense to fix everything. Definitely not an ideal situation to be in. So, how can we prevent ransomware attacks like these happening to your organization? The first step is to have an advanced antivirus solution in place to proactively monitor for attacks like this one and respond quickly should one be discovered. We have a lot of information around advanced antivirus on our blog, and P.S. another video this week potentially may be covering advanced antivirus and a little bit more detail on how it works. So stay tuned for that. The end.
Yes. And last but not least, I have another story. Are you ready?
I think I'm ready.
Okay.
I need to prepare.
A wealth management firm handling over 200 accounts fell victim to a cyber attack. Let me tell you what happened. One day, a workstation that was missing a security update gave a clear route for a hacker to get into their systems. It gave them access to steal the client list, but also gave them the ability to watch the activity of the wealth management firm for 6 months. After hiding in the shadows all that time, the bad guys had enough information to really smartly launch an attack on that client list. So although it didn't disrupt their day-to-day operations, it sure led to horrifying impact on their reputation. So how can we avoid a data breach? Well, we can do that by regularly updating your software, not just on your workstations, but across all of the devices across your network. And to patch those vulnerabilities so that we are not putting our organization at risk. Whew, I have the chills.
That was a terrifying one. That was scary.
So many ups and downs. Oh my God.
The suspense was just killing me.
Suspense.
Well, after hearing these stories, it's very clear, and we all know that cyber attacks are very real, and stories like these for real happen daily to organizations across all different industries. And companies of any size can be affected by cyber attacks, and oftentimes small businesses are even targeted because they're a small business, because hackers think that, oh, they're a smaller business, they're not as likely to have a strong security posture. So, taking all of these tips into consideration and making sure that your team is aware of them as well will help you create a strong IT security strategy that helps to protect your business from threats like these going after you.